Well, hey, North Park Community Church. It's Pastor Luke here with another episode of First Looks. And we are going to have a kind of a part two to last week's message. Last week we took a big chunk and we took Matthew 9:27 all the way to 10:25. And kind of our big idea was that Jesus calls us to follow his steps in advancing his kingdom. And we saw that in kind of three steps. Step one was Jesus's example. Step two was the call of a disciple. And then step three was the cost of faithfulness. And in Jesus' example, we see him healing the blind men, and then healing the mute man, and then the Pharisees say it's from the prince of demons that he has the power to do this. So we see Jesus proclaiming the good news of the kingdom, healing people. So we see the ministry of word in proclaiming the kingdom, and the ministry of deed in ministry of compassion as he heals people and healed every disease, cast out demons. And we saw that he was maligned and persecuted, and ultimately we know that that's going to escalate to the point of martyrdom and being crucified on the cross. And then he calls his disciples to go and do what? Proclaim the good news of the kingdom, and then to do acts of mercy and compassion in the way that they do the same things that he did, and healing the sick, casting out demons, raising the dead, all of those things. And then Jesus goes on to say that you need to be as innocent as doves and as wise as serpents, because proclaiming the kingdom in a world that is against and opposition to Jesus is going to lead to persecution that may even lead to your very death. And then he says, don't fear those who, actually that's going to come up in this next passage. I'm getting ahead of myself, but the very last line of last week's message in chapter 10, verse 25 is, if they called the master of the house Beelzebul, how much more will they malign those of his household? So as Jesus is called one who does the work of demons by the Pharisees at the beginning of the passage, and then at the very end it kind of comes full circle to talking about how his followers who continue his work will be called the same thing. Now this passage that we're picking up on is going to carry on. It's the same teaching. We just didn't have enough time in one Sunday to go through all of it, and this is Matthew 10:26 through 42. That's what we're going to see here, and it's the rest of chapter 10, and kind of maybe the predominant theme that we have here is encouragement to his disciples, maybe something like that. Some encouragement, some words of exhortation / encouragement. And we kind of have three paragraphs that all kind of work together as giving you a different type of way that you need to hold on to certain truths and promises about God to endure the persecution and the suffering that will come as an ambassador for King Jesus. So let's look at the first paragraph here, and that's right here. And the emphasis is God is sovereign, and he cares about you. Those are two big truths that are contained in this first paragraph here that we're going to look at. Let me go ahead and switch colors. So this is what he says. Then, in light of everything that he said, that you'll be maligned and brought before officials, thrown in jail, killed, all those things are implied there. Jesus goes on to say, have no fear of them. And it's just worth remembering that do not be afraid is most repeated command in Scripture. For nothing is covered that will not be revealed, or hidden that will not be known. What I tell you in the dark, say in the light, and what you have whispered, what you hear whispered, proclaim on the housetops. So do not be afraid. Essentially, the time is coming to announce out loud and ultimately take it to the ends of the earth is where that's going to go. And then we have a repeated, and so do not fear. Do not fear. Do not fear who? Those who kill body but cannot kill the soul. Instead, fear him. Fear God is the beginning of wisdom. We could have in Proverbs there. Fear him because he can destroy both body and soul. Can destroy both body and soul in hell. And this is Gehenna. And Gehenna, the Valley of Hinnom, is typically how that's interpreted, which was just a perpetually burning garbage pit. It's got a lot of just really evil history in the backdrop of that valley. So it was almost kind of like a living picture to use as a kind of a little bit of a picture, a little bit of a foretaste of the anguish and torment of hell. And so the principle is pretty clear here. And that is man can kill the body, which is a temporary killing, because the body will be resurrected into glory, but not soul, which is the eternal component of us. We will have a body in eternity. Pastor Drew's been talking about that, but that eternal body will not come about until Jesus returns to make all things new, whole, right again. And so the body in its current state is temporary. The soul, though, is the eternal part. God can destroy the body temporary, in that he numbers all of the days of our lives, Psalm 139, and also the soul, eternal, in the destruction of hell. And so the question is, just logically speaking, who should you fear and therefore obey? The answer seems to be obvious in this when we look at it this way. Okay, now going back here. Are not 2 sparrows sold for a penny? The point here sparrows are cheap and are not, and now one of them will fall to the ground apart from your Father. Okay, so God cares for the cheap or insignificant, at least in our minds, sparrow. And then from the lesser to the greater here, but even the hairs on your head are all numbered by God. This is telling us he knows us intimately. So what do? Fear not. Fear not. And fear him. I'm going to go ahead and highlight these just so we can see them a little bit better here. So, have no fear. Do not fear. Fear him. Fear not. Are you not of more value than they? Than many sparrows? So everyone who acknowledges me before men, I also will acknowledge before my Father who is in heaven. Whoever denies me before men, I also will deny him before my Father who is in heaven. And so the point is God is sovereign over each sparrow's life, and each hair on your head. He cares more for you than birds. So don't fear. And then as you profess Christ to the world, he professes you to his father. And this carries some Daniel 7, Son of Man imagery here, where the Son of Man comes and is presented before the Father, and he comes with a host with him, and so it's I think there's some Daniel 7 connection here, and that rolls in from the passage that we looked at last week. I think that's all still working, but nevertheless, let's keep looking. So that's number one. Yes. Okay, so the second paragraph here is kind of an encouragement to love Jesus above all else. And so this first one is encouragement to not be afraid. Okay. Come back here. Jesus says some hard stuff here. Do not think that I have come to bring peace to the earth. So that's strange. I have not come to bring peace, but a sword. So this is probably just immediately going to be provoking some thoughts in your mind about Jesus as, say, the Prince of Peace. Where do we have that in Isaiah 9, 6, and 7. We'll talk about that. Also, we have Zechariah 9:10. Zechariah 9:10 says, let me find it here. I got it. I will cut off from the chariot Ephraim, and the war horse from Jerusalem, and the battle bow shall be cut off, and he shall speak peace to the nations. So he shall speak peace. And then we have kind of the vision of peace, of shalom, in Isaiah 11, 6 through 9. And in that passage, it talks about the wolf dwelling with the lamb, and the leopard lying down with the goat, and the child, and will hold the cobra and not be hurt by it. So we have that. We also have Luke 2:14. Which calls Jesus, is the angel saying, glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace among those with whom he is pleased. So he's coming to bring peace there. In Matthew 5:9, the Beatitudes, it's blessed are the peacemakers. And so all of these passages talk about Jesus bringing peace. And but here Jesus says, do not think that I've come to bring peace, but a sword. And so that's something that we have to work with. We have to interact with that. How are these two things true and not in contradiction one with the other? And so I think one of the things that we consider with this is he did come to bring peace for those who will trust in Jesus. So here, maybe I should expand on the sword part here. But a sword. This is not. This is intent. This is communicating division. not war necessarily. I mean, we can get into that about yes, there's spiritual war that's happening, no doubt about it. I'm not saying that, but right here, the sword imagery is intended to communicate division because it's he's going to come to set a man against father, and a daughter against mother, and a daughter-in-law against mother-in-law, and a person's enemies will be those of his own household. So it seems to be the division is the kind of the sword that's happening here. So against, yeah. So in that regard, does Jesus bring peace? Yes, he does bring peace. Peace with God is available, but will bring division with world until he returns. And then we will have truly the kingdom of shalom will come in fullness, and in totality there will be no more sword or division when he returns to, and once he makes everything right after he brings his judgment. And so with that, we come back and we say, whoever loves father more than mother, or mother more than me is not worthy of me. Whoever loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And so let me, here, loves worthy, loves worthy, worthy. Okay. So father or mother, and then son or daughter. These are the closest, most important, and loving human relationships. And what does Jesus say? Jesus must be prioritized more than these. Which, if you have mom and dad, or if you have a son or daughter, you know, these are not trite words that Jesus is saying here. Not at all. This is extreme. He's saying high stakes stuff here, and then he wraps it up with, whoever finds his life will lose it. Whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. And so this is the just the way of the kingdom. Yeah. Okay. And then that brings us to our third paragraph to wrap it up. And here we see that though persecution, some will receive you. Encouragement is people will welcome Christ / the good news. Good news of the kingdom. Some will. All right, let's see what we have here. Whoever receives you, here, let me get my highlighter back. Whoever receives you receives me. Whoever receives me receives him who sent me. The one who receives a prophet, because he is a prophet, will receive a prophet's reward. The one who receives a righteous person, because he is a righteous person, will receive a righteous person's reward. Whoever gives to one of these little ones even a cup of cold water because his disciple, truly I say to you, he will by no means lose his reward. So receive is a pretty repeated word. Here's the kind of the trajectory here. You, and that's just talking to his disciples. So whoever receives a disciple receives Jesus. And whoever receives Jesus receives the Father. And this is a common just kind of progression for Jesus. We see it in which is a variety of different places in the Gospels. In John, if you've received me, you've received my Father. It's talked about there. Then he goes on to say, receives a prophet because he's a prophet, receives a prophet's reward. So we see it. There's a kind of an equilibrium here, I suppose, in that if you receive a prophet, you receive a prophet's reward. If you receive a righteous person, you get a righteous person's reward. So we kind of have that going on there. And then here we go. And then here we go. Whoever gives one of these little ones, and these little ones are the disciples. We could say Jesus's brothers and sisters. If we were to use Hebrews language, which refers to Jesus as the elder brother, whoever gives one of these little ones, his disciples, even a cup of cold water, because he is a disciple. There you go. That's how you know the little ones are referring to disciples, because he is a disciple. And even this cup of cold water, this is just a minimal act of hospitality. It doesn't go unnoticed by God. Even the smallest things. The Lord knows and takes account of. Truly I say to you, he will by no means lose his reward. And then we just know that reward, this is a recurring motif in Matthew's gospel, that the kingdom comes with rewards. So there it is. Okay. And so we see there will be success for the gospel. People will receive you, even though there will be persecution and antagonism and obstacles and suffering and trial and all of that. There will be those who receive you. Keep Christ as your highest prize, your highest priority. And don't be afraid. He's in control, and he knows you. He knows everything about you, and he cares for you. And so all of that, those are some really great promises that we have there. And it's, I think, just a fitting encouragement to wrap up the call for Jesus's followers to be people who follow his steps in advancing his kingdom here on this earth. And so that's what we got. I'm excited for it, church. I look forward to preaching this message to you on Sunday. Please pray for me. I love your prayers. Just so grateful for them. And we'll see you in a couple days. Love you.